Nick. Noob.
Tango.
Nick, Tango.
Noob.
So much chanting. What's going on today, fellas?
Not much, man. Just, dude, excited about franchise, excited about MLB The Show 23. These next 2 weeks are going to be long.
Longest weeks of my life.
Dude, yeah.
Oh,
Like
I can't
every
wait.
minute's going to seem like a cardio minute or a microwave minute.
Those are the worst minutes. The cardio minutes are definitely the worst.
Exactly. Dude, yeah, those are rough, man. Those are rough.
I don't work out, so I'm good.
Dude, MLB The Show 22 is a workout. Let me tell you.
It's a grind, that's for sure.
Straining on my mental health at this point.
Oh, yeah. It's bad.
All right, well, welcome everyone. We are here, episode 6 already. We're on to episode 6 of the On Deck Circle with Nick and Tango. Today, we're welcoming our first guest of the podcast, TheShowNoob. Welcome, Noob.
Dude, I didn't even realize I was the first guest. Oh my God, that's amazing. Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all.
You were the first
All
guest.
right.
We've been pretty selective, and we're still trying to figure out the best ways to bring guests on. But you are like the one person that we know that plays the most franchise. I mean, after I started watching your videos, I played it for a little bit because that was, when the game was getting kind of boring for me. Like, I need something new. Let's try it out. But for those who don't know, TheShowNoob, the homie, used to stream a lot, has recently got back into it a little bit.
Sir. Yes, sir. Feels good.
Day to day, you're what, an ER nurse? Is that correct?
Operating room nurse.
Nurse. OR
Close.
nurse.
OR.
Okay.
Yeah, OR nurse. Yeah.
Close.
Yeah, very close. I mean, one letter off. It was a vowel, so that was close, man. Yeah.
I wouldn't have got it either.
Nurse by day, MLB The Show content creator by night, and just an all-around W of a human.
Appreciate y'all. I say the same thing about yourselves. But yeah, dude, it's a hell of a. I cannot wait for MLB The Show 23. Like, franchise has been okay in 22. Actually, it's been less than okay. It's pretty much worse than 21 and 20. I actually found myself playing a lot of MLB The Show 19, like even just several months ago before I even made videos on franchise 22.
Like just to play franchise in it?
Yeah, just to play franchise. It's almost the same, but it's better in some ways.
Like in which ways? I'm curious.
Well, one of the things I really like to do, I like to just have the computer draft my team and then just like kind of fix their mess. And in MLB The Show 22, yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun. It's a lot of variation. The replayability is just off the charts. And in MLB The Show 22, whenever you did a franchise draft or fantasy draft, I should say, like you wouldn't be able to see the player's progression over the attributes year to year. You could just see them declining or increasing right next to their overall. You couldn't see whether they were declining in fielding, contact power, anything like that. So I was just like, I'm not going to take a screenshot after every year to see whether my guys are getting better or worse. And it was just a pain. It was just so unsatisfying.
And then in 19, you were able to sort of see where they had come from to where they were then?
Yes.
Okay.
You could do it in 21 and 20, but I don't know why that 19 just hit a little different. I guess it was because of maybe some player progression made a little bit more sense. Trades were still awful. Trades were still really bad, but
don't even get me started there.
I know, right? They've been trying to fix trades forever, and nothing has seemed to work. But hopefully, with 23, there's a little bit more accuracy and logic behind the trades and free agent signings as well. Hopefully, just overall.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all have a lot of high hopes for basically every aspect of MLB The Show 23, except for Road to the Show. I mean, after that Road to the Show
man.
thing,
that feature premiere was
I'm not going to touch that mode, I don't think, because it's literally
I hardly touched it this year. I got out of work maybe like 10 minutes after it started, and I was like, I'll be able to catch a little bit of it. And I got in my car and just like went on my phone for a bit, and it was over. And I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah,
like, how is it already over?
Yeah, there's so much that they could have done with it, but they fumbled the bag. That's all. They
fumbled the bag.
Yeah,
yes, they definitely flipped it as far as like how long the feature premiere is going to be with this last one, because it was like the complete opposite.
Well, they learned their lesson, I think.
And
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest complaint, honestly, is like I don't really care that much about Road to the Show. Like it is what it is, but I'm like, oh well, I can watch a stream and get at least like one free Twitch drop pack for when 23 comes open. But it wasn't even long enough to get one pack, so
it's rough. That is,
So
I
there's
can't
that.
believe we couldn't even get one pack out of it.
Couldn't even get one pack. Maybe
Yeah,
that's why
that's
they put
crazy.
the special pack in that ratings reveal stream that they did. But my inventory says I have a few packs, so hopefully
Same here.
we do,
Hopefully
'cause
they come to
oh,
fruition.
can't wait to open packs.
Yeah, I hope so.
Me neither, man. Me neither.
Packs.
But
Packs.
does this franchise premiere have you all looking forward to maybe jumping into franchise a little bit more?
I think so. Yeah, I'm willing to give it more of a shot. This year I was just mostly invested with Diamond Dynasty and whatnot, but I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I won't know until I'm playing the game, I think, because for me, like, there's always just so much to do in Diamond Dynasty. Like, basically, until they cut off the content, but like up until November, like, there was just constantly programs coming out, and like, I don't know. I am just absolutely. I just get too obsessed with grinding this game out when it comes for Diamond Dynasty. I was actually looking over like some really sad stats on your PlayStation. Now it shows you how many hours you've played each game.
I am so scared to see those. Like, even without streaming for like 6 months, it's still ridiculous. Like, I've still played the game quite often.
I'm really curious, Nick, for what your MLB The Show 22 hours is.
I was just gonna say, we looked at that on stream, and I think I've played a total of 70 days, 14 hours, and like 30 minutes or something like that.
How many hours is that? 70 days. What's 70 times 24?
No idea. I don't want to know.
Whatever 70
Oh,
times
man,
24
you're like
is.
17.
Y'all got
Yeah,
calculators.
that's literally double mine. Like, mine was 822 hours, and I was like, that seems like a lot. And then I looked at my MLB The Show 20, and it was like 1,300. So I'm like, I've definitely like been scaling off. But I think it's because like this year, once the content cycle kind of ended, my desire to play the game was like lower than it's been in the last few years. And I don't necessarily like, part of it's because of how the game was this year. But I think it's also because, like, for me, like, I've basically been grinding Diamond Dynasty since MLB 18, like, the day that game came out. So, like, 5 straight years of grinding is like, I need more time playing other games or just not playing this game at all. And it's funny because also
Absolutely.
at that point is like now when I'm trying to like make the most content for it. Playing
It's
it,
weird how
Dive
that
in
works.
Even more,
Playing
It's
it.
weird how that works.
playing it the least
Yeah.
amount. So we'll just get into a little bit of kind of the first little bit of the stream that they did, just with the presentation and commentary. So I don't know what your guys' initial thoughts. I mean, this stuff I don't really pay that much attention to, I guess. Like, it's cool. It's nice to have things. It's nice to have like a visually appealing game and stuff. But, you know, all in all, like cutscenes and screens in between and stuff don't really do a whole lot for me because I'm like, I usually, you know, they always have like that, like when you start playing Diamond Dynasty, when you first boot up the game and you're playing against the CPU in Conquest or whatever, and you're trying to get the third out and you have 2 strikes on them, and it always goes to that weird like pan cut scene where they're just showing the picture
so much,
and they have like the buttons across the bottom. You're like, why is this even here? Because everybody just goes and turns it off instantly.
dude. Whoever decided to make that is probably looking for a new job. Like, it's bad. It's
But they
bad. I'm sorry to whoever made that, but man,
They keep putting it in the game.
it should be. The time spent making that should have been spent elsewhere. I think, like maybe in between batters, it makes sense, but in the middle of an at bat, you're like hella focused. You're lasering in, and just like I don't want to see the pan view.
Yeah, exactly. Like your brain is just computing like I need to throw this pitch and get this guy out, and you're just ready to have like your whatever pitching view you use, and then all of a sudden it's like this weird camera pan. You're like, I can't do this.
Yeah, especially with like pinpoint pitching where you need a rhythm, and that kind of just throws your rhythm off.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
for real.
Yeah, or analog too. I know you still use analog, right, Tango?
I do.
Yeah, buddy.
Pure analog.
It's probably the move, man. The pinpoint has been pretty suspect.
Last year was a lot better.
This is my thing because I would say like more people who like if anytime I get a new viewer in my stream, they always come in. They're like, "Oh, you don't use pinpoint, bro? And I'm like, no. But here's why. Like, it's not that I've never used it, or I don't think it's bad or anything, but I found, like, honestly, and maybe I'm just like not great with it, but I thought I was not bad with it. That the results I was getting wasn't any better than pure analog. I never found, like, you get the odd, like, really good dot here and there, but I think overall, to me, it just wasn't, like, worth it. And I also, again, like, I will keep saying this in every episode we do, but, like, I am not a competitive player. I do not try to make World Series. I'm not playing tons of games on Hall of Fame or Legends. So, like, when you're playing on All-Star, it doesn't matter. You could use pulse pitching, and it would probably be just as good as anything. So 100%. That's why I use it.
Yeah, and whatever gets you wins and whatever you feel good with doing is basically what you got to go with.
I also do a lot of, like, offline play, and I don't want to waste my time trying to pinpoint the CPU in a like a conquest game.
Dude,
Pulse is beautiful for, like, offline stuff.
And if you even turn it to classic, all you have to do is select
just
pitch
press
and
the
select where to throw it. Yeah,
I always forget about classic.
Yeah,
it's so good. Or and I like to slide step on guys, and switch it up that way. Not like constantly, but you gotta throw the slide step in. It works so well. Slide stepping off speed, people always fall for it.
Challenge,
absolutely.
Quick pitch, a splitter, challenge impossible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's tough. So yeah, when they get into sort of the presentation stuff, I guess, like, they have this game stage, which I think is going to be like pre-game or like in between. I couldn't really tell.
It's like some kind of like pre-game lineup, I think.
Yeah, like it'll just kind of shows your lineup.
Your team.
All the guys just kind of standing there with, like, a cool graphic in the background. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that sounds all right for, like, maybe once or twice, but then like after a couple times, you're gonna be holding the X button down pretty often.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, like, where it shows up and stuff. And, like, because they kind of have, like, everybody kind of skips it. The only reason you kind of watch the intro to game usually is to, like, see what your opponent's record is. Otherwise, you just kind of skip through and you just wait. Because they do have kind of cool stuff there with, like, first pitch stuff and whatever that you don't really pay attention to. So, I don't know. It's, like, cool to have there because it's baseball. But at the same time, it's like, is it necessary?
I think... Yeah, seriously, it may not be necessary. I think it could be cool if you are playing franchise and it's getting, like, further into August, September, and, like, seeing how guys have been doing, especially, like, unproven talent or some of your rookies. That might be kind of cool. Maybe they have a couple extra little blurbs in the commentary about how this unexpected rookie is, like, doing really, really well. Maybe, like, how Adley Rutschman did with the Orioles, something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The one part, like, the next thing sort of on the list that I think is that I like more than kind of the game stages, kind of doesn't really do much for me, but the team chants and, like, this exterior, the stadium shot stuff, that's a little more specific to, or, like, a little more, like, goes with specific teams and stuff like that. So, like, the Blue Jays the last couple of years have done their home run jacket thing, seeing some of those, like, team specific, the Orioles with their big chain and whatever, some of that stuff I think is more fun and, like, a little bit cooler to see in the game.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't even realize that, like, the jacket, I didn't see that part. That's
I don't know if they'll specifically have, like, those things, but it just seems like with the team chants or whatever that they're showing is going to be more of, like, I guess, specific celebrations and stuff specific to the teams. I just said specific so many times and my brain's hurting trying to come up with a different word to say.
Yo, English is not my strong suit either.
No, English is hard.
Yeah, it's bad. English is my only language, but I speak it like it's my third. So, who's the clown in this chat? That would be me.
Oh, we're all there. Oh, but yeah, just having a few more things that, are just, like, geared towards specific teams. That makes more sense than kind of like the game stage is just something they made up for the game, for MLB The Show. It's not something that you would see in real life if you're watching baseball necessarily.
It's very, very true.
So that's where it's kind of like it's cool.
I mean, it's cool, but
looks nice. Yeah, but it's just one of those things with the game that it's gonna kind of get old quick. But again, that's kind of what you expect, right? Like, every year a new game comes out, you want it to look a little bit different, look a little bit nicer, more polished and stuff like that. So
absolutely, I hope it does its job. Yeah, that and team chants, like it's going to be interesting to see. Like I don't know of any team specific chants really, so it'd be kind of cool just to go around and
Like
play
the
with 30
Brave,
teams. And
the Braves chop.
yes, I
Yeah,
mean
the
that's the
chop,
like the
yes.
only one I know.
It's
And
it's the
I
team
doubt
that
they
you
put
cheer
that
for.
in the game. I doubt
Yeah,
they put
I
that in
don't
the
think they
game.
would.
I
Yeah.
really hope that the Astros one is just banging the trash can.
Maybe the Doug Funny song, like banging on a trash can. And like if anyone used to watch Doug, that was like one of the songs. It's hilarious.
Oh, that would be funny.
I don't even know what the Royals would be personally. I have no idea.
There are no chance. I can tell you, sir. I was like at 6 games last year. I was like at 6 games last year. There are no chance.
I wonder if they'll just have things like crowds being just like, like "Let's go Royals" or stuff like that.
Yeah, like
it's a
something
big
super
crowd.
generic.
just-
yeah.
Yeah, that
Because
might
like
be
that
what it
happens
is.
at every game for every home team.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Right?
Okay, I take back what I said. They did chant that. Maybe
Or if they
like
did-
once or twice.
Like what's the 7th inning stretch songs and stuff for. That'd be cool.
yeah.
Some of that if you're playing with the Cubs or something. I don't know. There's opportunities where it makes sense, but for the most part, we just
Yeah.
want to play. the game.
100%.
But and then then there's commentary updates. So I mean, how many of you guys turn off the commentary when you're playing MLB
I
The
do.
Show?
I do, especially with Diamond Dynasty. Maybe it is pretty cool to have. I know a lot of people like it, especially offline players. And it's good that we're getting updates because we totally switched broadcast crews from 21 to 22, and I think they said on the feature premiere that was like 16 years worth of stuff that they just like moved on from.
Yeah.
So
so it'd be
I
hard to
guarantee
do.
you it's definitely needed, and there's not as many phrases in there as there
Right.
were in the later stages of Matt Vasgersian. So it's gonna be cool to see, like especially if they kind of change it up a little bit, maybe I don't know, go a different style. Maybe I don't know if that's even possible, but like some exciting calls for home runs would be more than welcomed by me, and I'm sure a lot of the community as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think the hard part for me is because generally, especially if I'm playing like ranked and stuff, it's not always, but a lot of the time I'm like, you're either like streaming or recording a video for gameplay, and then you just don't want to have that audio because it's just like extra stuff you have to kind of like work around. So like if up until I started making videos and stuff, I never turned it off. I just had it on playing and whatever. It was just there, and I never like it wasn't I never had a problem with it. I guess that's kind of why I have it turned off, and I think why most of like the guys we know do.
Preach. Dude, I had a couple of amazing shorts that I recorded from the tech test, and I didn't adjust like the commentary or the crowd noise, so like you can barely hear what I say over the crowd noise. And I'm just like, dude, you got to be kidding me! I'm not gonna get that
Oh
one
my
back
God.
for sure. Like it sucked, but hey, it's what I get for not paying attention.
Yeah,
It's the first thing I did.
I think
Now
until
I'm
That was a
Texas.
smart move.
like out of all of the, because I did that video where I clipped all my home runs, and I think it was just like the last game I played from the tech test was the only one where I had the crowd volume turned down. The rest you just hear it the whole time. But so
That can be kind of cool for like a mashup of home runs, crowd going wild for home runs. That would kinda
Yeah,
make
if you're
sense
doing
for
that
it,
kind of
though.
thing, yeah.
So maybe it worked.
I don't know. Some people watched it. It's got a few views. Not much.
I don't know if I've seen it. Like
It's
I'm gonna have
nothing.
to
Like
check
it's
it out.
it's literally just here's every home run I hit in the MLB The Show tech test, and then it's just that. I didn't like I just put some background music on it and just cut them together. I didn't like add anything like anything fancy to it. I was just like, I want to get some content out, and I'm like, oh, I have all these home runs I hit, so I might as well just put them in. People like watching.
What
feel
stuff
about
like
the
that.
throws? Are you still gonna do that?
I should. I might.
Like the errors and
I
stuff?
was gonna go through my other video idea was going through every game I played, because basically anytime I played it, I just recorded it, whether I had my face cam on or not. I was just recording the gameplay to have
Just for
it.
some content.
That's
Um,
smart.
And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll just do all the bad throws I made defensively, which is like every second throw.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
seriously,
every throw
man.
for me.
It seriously was. I'm worried. I'm
Yeah, me
very
too.
Yeah,
worried.
it's gonna be tough. So yeah, Nick and I had talked about this after we had played it. The one thing that I don't like about it, for the most part, I like the fielding and throwing meter, but I don't like when it continues to move the entire time. Like, I don't mind if like the perfect throw spot is in a different spot every time you start your throw, but when it's continually moving as you're trying to hit it, that to me is just like a little bit too much. I don't know.
Same here. Especially like if y'all are trying to stream and you're talking with chat and you get distracted, like for a routine grounder, I mean, that's just a recipe for an error. And then, I mean, maybe some good content will come out of it, but I mean, I don't want to be making too many errors.
That's what I mentioned to Tango when we did that tech test review episode, because I'm just so distracted with chat, and like I don't even pay attention to the game all that much. I don't even know what I'm throwing whenever I'm pitching. So
I feel that, dude. I feel that. 100%.
It's gonna be awful. So.
Yeah, learning curve for sure.
Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. I like that they changed it up a little bit, but yeah, I mean, don't make it like don't go too far to the other side.
Yeah.
But maybe, we'll see. I mean, after whatever feedback they would have got from everybody, because that was like the one thing I specifically gave them feedback about, was like, this is like a little bit too much the other way, but I don't know.
No, that was smart.
We'll
for me, it was the urgency of getting the ball out of the glove whenever they made a play. That was the worst thing for me.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. And then the jumps too. I think I was listening to your podcast about. Yeah, it's like all the time. Yeah, all the time.
That was another thing. If you're not like an elite 90+ fielder, you're getting a bad jump every time. I was like, this wouldn't happen. Like, even the worst fielder in the outfield in Major League Baseball is still a Major League Baseball player. Like,
seriously,
they're not going to have a bad jump every single time a ball is hit over their head. They might not catch up to it, right? Like, they might be slower and this and that, but like, I don't know.
Absolutely.
So, we'll see. Because, definitely, like, on the offensive side, it's nice because there's just a ton of runners on base all the time. But you want to, I don't know, it's tough to make it, where, I don't know, everybody's going to have sort of a different, meter of where they think it should be, is sort of like, I guess, realism, or should that play have been made, this and that. So we'll see.
It's going to be interesting to see how people like prioritize defense in their outfield.
If it plays like the tech test, I'll be putting like 99 defense seriously. Everywhere.
Yo, Kevin Kiermaier.
Yeah, that Kevin 99 Kiermaier Ricky Henderson power that they showed is going to be everybody's starting center fielder.
Oh yeah, forever.
Because I was using, it was Lou Brock, like a 90-something diamond Lou Brock. I drafted in BR, and he got a bad jump every time, but thankfully he was fast enough that he could still catch up to most stuff, but it was just annoying to watch.
I'll never use Castellanos in my outfield ever again.
No
Castellanos, he's cut from the team.
That's why we have a DH spot now.
Exactly.
Thank God. Thank God. I'm glad that's going to be in franchise as well. Like, dude, making your lineups in franchise. There's 4 separate lineups as of 22. Like, no DH against righties, lefties, and then DH against lefties, righties, and then just like setting them is just such a pain, especially when especially if you turned DH on in the menu. It's just like extra steps.
Yeah, that's one thing with franchise. Like, the little bit that I played, anytime that I was doing it, is like, I'm just like, you make any sort of transaction or some guy gets injured or whatever, you have to call somebody up, and then all of a sudden, like, your whole lineup's just screwed up, and you got to like, or they just like they just always, whatever the lineups they generate for your team is just never what you would do. Like, it seems like it's always way off from what you would actually set. Like, so
100%. Got like a 90 overall on the bench with a secondary that you plan on putting him in, and then they have like let's say that secondary is second base, and then they automatically put like a 71 overall player in second base, and they don't account for that other player's secondary. So that's if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I've encountered that before in franchise a lot in the past.
Yeah, it's so I'm like super stoked to have the DH and excited to see like what they do with the lineups.
Hopefully a little bit better, especially if you're like you actually designating them as the DH, right? Like, people on your team, that'll be like their primary position, I guess you would call it. Yeah. So we'll get into franchise in MLB The Show 23. So they started off just mentioning like all the collective bargaining agreement sort of updates, adding the DH and the new postseason formats. And basically they just said, the word logic was like, he probably could have done a logic counter in this stream and it would have been in the thousands.
Or scouting.
Yeah, dude. Lots of scouting.
Scouting logic. So yeah, I don't know if you had any sort of like initial thoughts on the CBA stuff, Noob, or not, but yeah, what do you think of that?
I'm interested to see the postseason format just because like I'm still like amazed that we have so many teams in the playoffs like in real life. So I'm glad they are adding that into the game, and them not having it in 22 kind of hurt a little bit, especially the realism and the immersiveness that you can have. And honestly, I don't know what other CBA updates did they put in the game.
I don't know. I was watching back, and
like
these were
DH. Is DH in a postseason format kind of?
I think those are the only two things. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think like the rest of the stuff with rule changes and stuff, I guess, wouldn't really affect franchise and stuff. Like your pitch clock's not going to affect your franchise or whatever. But
how wild would it be if they did have pitch clock and made it like 10 seconds or something? I don't know.
If they did pitch clock, I would be screwed.
It would just be nonstop slide steps online.
Yeah, it would.
Like you already get those. No. You already get those people that like. So when I say I slide step, I'll do it like to strike a guy out. I won't like as soon as a runner gets on base. I'm not slide stepping every single pitch like some of those guys do.
Yes.
Because those are the guys. Because then I become toxic and I just R2 them. I'm just like, okay, you're gonna slide step every pitch. I'm gonna R2 you every pitch, and then we're just gonna balance it back out to just being normal people. But
yeah, for sure.
But I don't know, man. A pitch clock in MLB The Show would be crazy.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, I don't think it would. Infractions wouldn't happen very often because everybody's just spamming pitches anyway. They're trying to get games over with, if it's not ranked at least. It's like events, we're just trying to get through there as fast as possible.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
In franchise, I mean, you're going to be playing against the CPU, so I mean,
it's like
what?
Sorry.
Yeah, what use of that would it be against a CPU in franchise? I don't think there'd be too much of a use for it.
You're already pitching as fast as possible.
Yeah. But I'm. Oh, sorry. I'm also interested. Oh, geez, I'm sorry, man.
Go ahead.
All right. When they talk about having the CPU roster logic with their offseason moves and like trades and free agents, it's going to be interesting to see how many teams are actually buyers when we have like, what is it, 12 teams in the playoffs now?
Yeah, I think it's 12.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that because maybe there's going to be some teams that are a little bit below 500 and they're going to be buyers, and you might want to get, let's say the Pirates are just like fringe competition. Let me remind you, this is a fantasy situation. And and they're like, you want to get Brian Reynolds from them, and they're just like, no, we are like 5 games out of a third wild card spot. We're going to keep him and see what happens. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of teams are in that situation. And I'm sorry, Pittsburgh Pirates fans, I know you're out there. PNC is beautiful. PNC is beautiful. I really do want them to do well.
Her first. Noob says the Pirates are winning it all this year.
That's right. That's right.
2023 World Series champions.
Yep, absolutely. But that would be really cool to see. And it is, if the logic is improved like they said it is, then that would be really cool and really diverse. Like, lots of things can happen with that. Make it really interesting.
Absolutely.
So with the franchise that you play now, like, do you find, like, is there any sort of, when it comes to like trade deadline, CPU logic, like, is there any rhyme or reason to it right now? Or is it kind of just like everything's all over the place? Like, do you find that the teams that are doing well that season in your franchise, like besides like the CPU control teams, I guess, like they are trying to buy players and stuff, or is it mostly just kind of like things just seem pretty random?
Some of them do make sense. You'll see like a really good player get shipped out for like 2 pretty decent prospects. But when those happen, I haven't really checked out to see like how that team is doing at the time. I hope they're at least considering their spot in the standings and making moves accordingly. But there's some really, really bad trades, and maybe not so much as far as the CPU makes, but if you go into making trades like manually and you try to go get like Shohei Ohtani or Mike Trout, getting them is a lot easier than it should be. Like you can trade one dude straight up for Mike Trout, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
it just makes no sense.
When I was doing
really
mine, they'd be like, "Oh, we want Alejandro Kirk and like some pitching prospect," and I was like, "Cool, there you go. Shohei Ohtani's on my team, and then I'm just gonna sign him for 13 years."
Yep. I think
I'll just pay him
seriously, absolutely. And just go to contract extensions right away and just sign him to a max deal. Then like game over.
Which is like there's like fun parts to it because you can basically like build a god squad.
You really can. It's like I have to scale it down sometimes in videos just to like try not to piss people off if I want to make it like a little bit more realistic. And I remember I do a Brewers series, and some dude was like really upset in the comments that I traded away. Spoiler alert! I traded away Corbin Burns for a couple prospects, and like Corbin Burns was declining. He was like at the end of his deal, so didn't really make sense for the team that was trading those prospects away for a guy who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year and also getting worse and also going to require like $25 million a year if they want to re-sign him. So that just doesn't make sense.
Just getting these hardcore Brewers fans in your comments.
They're just like,
how could you do this to us? How could you do this to us?
Like Milwaukee has a target on my back. Just the whole city. The whole city is coming after Noob.
Oh my god,
that's funny.
But I did like a series of shorts on TikTok and YouTube just about like, would you make this trade or is it a smart trade? Like, and I would just sim through the season. And whatever trades that came up were just like ridiculous. I would kind of make a short about it, and just some of them were ridiculous. There was surprisingly a couple that were realistic, and I thought was a good move. But also, just having 3-man trades being the max has like a really big cap on what you can do.
Yeah, and they said did they say they're getting rid of that this year?
I didn't see it. I didn't hear it.
I think they said they were going to keep it the same.
I just thought they mentioned something because they were talking about like market sizes and like that they mentioned the Juan Soto trade in the thing, and I'm like, so are you going to be able to do that? Are you going to be able to do like ship out like 7 for 2 guys, kind of a
or like the William Gutierrez trade, like 3-team trades and everything like that. I think that'd be awesome for.
That'd be so cool. I would love that so much. Like that would be so cool. I would. Yeah, that would be game changing. That would be seriously game changing. It's going to be interesting to see kind of like how many people dive into just franchise for streaming and YouTube videos, because there's not an insane amount of people that do it. Like we got RGS, DeAnt Ortiz. Those are basically your top dudes for franchise. I know Dimmu occasionally does franchise streams over on Twitch, which are awesome.
I love his franchise streams. They're so bangers.
Fun. Dude, anything that dude does is honestly amazing. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see that. And honestly, I wish I would have gotten into franchise streams itself, but with editing videos and work and stuff, it was just I had to kind of shift priorities and do one thing whole ass and not 2 things half ass.
That is like my struggle every day is like, what do I do? Like,
it's so tough
trying to figure out where to spend the limited amount of time I have to work on all this stuff. Like, and it still feels like I'm just kind of all over the place trying to do.
I feel the same way.
Me too. Yeah. Absolutely. It's a struggle if you got like a family and full-time job and things of that nature, and you still want to have a social life. Like that's anyway, not to rant off topic.
We can do a whole other stream on just the streaming itself and nothing, not even related to MLB The Show.
Tell me to stop rambling whenever it happens.
This is why we have people. We're just having a conversation, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. Love it.
So and then they updated draft class updates. So they're adding, things going into high school, junior college, first year college players, and I think this was pretty cool because basically every year before it's been like, here's your draft class. They're all 21-year-olds, and then you just kind of
mid-20s.
Dude, it's amazing how many 25-year-olds are even in there. Like 23 through 25-year-olds are in there. It's crazy. And I think this is actually going to have the biggest impact on franchises that are 10 plus years.
Yeah.
Because the way it is now, you got Rookie of the Years winning that award at like 28 years old. And when has the last time that happened in real life?
That'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Trying to
And
think,
then
I have no idea.
yeah, I don't know. I think maybe like Justin Ruggiano was close when he was in the.
Oh, I haven't heard that name in
Guatemala.
forever.
It's been a long time, and like I might be way off, but I think I remember him being up there. But anyway, just like 5 years down the road in a franchise like that, it's going to be such a fresh wave of younger talent than there is in the franchise right now. Because
it gives you a lot more options of like, do I want to go with like where is my franchise right now? Like, do I need a player in 2 years or do I need a player in 5 years, right? Like, do I want to go for somebody who's younger with potentially like a higher potential, or somebody who's like more MLB ready, right? So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, seriously. Like, it's so weird to see franchise like 10 years into a sim, because you got like the stars of your teams are like 84 overall and stuff like that, with like B potential, C potential. And it's like a ghost town, if that makes any sense, from what it was like 10 years or 5 years before. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, everybody's getting ready to retire.
Yeah. And then you just got this fresh wave of C potentials coming up just to win MVPs. That's just like unrealistic.
Sorry, my brain just stopped for a second. When it comes to like the prospects and stuff, like, are they like, because they have sort of like everybody who's kind of in the current minor league system, right? And then like as far as like guys you can draft, is it all like made up guys, or they're like real human beings? Like that.
The drafts are all generated players.
Generated players, okay.
Yeah, and I'm lucky. We're all lucky that there's a lot of people in the community that make rosters. There's like so many rosters out there, and I refuse to really do a franchise without like updated rosters. Because we used to not have real prospects in franchise. I think even in like 19 or 20, they didn't have the real names of guys in the minors. So it was kind of like a crapshoot of where you were, like where your favorite team was. But now everyone, like, there's so many people that make rosters, like Ryden rosters. I think that's still the same people that really update players, and it might take them a while, but they always come out with a really good roster at some point if they're still doing it. I think they are.
I'm pretty sure there's also
it's so much
a guy
work.
Named Bacon's Fictional or something.
Yes, Bacon's Fictional. Yeah. Yes, and then there's like people will make other rosters, like historic rosters. And I think that's pretty sick.
That's pretty awesome for franchise, because that's the kind of thing that I used to do when I used to play franchise a decent amount.
Hell yeah, it's so fun. Just like having all the legends in there. Like you got Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, like I mean all those guys. Like bring us the steroids, please.
Oh man,
steroid heroes, man.
Give us some of these guys. They're like all those guys, all those guys from like 92 to 2001. Like just throw some of those guys in there, like Juan Gonzalez. Fucking like
that'd be sweet.
Oh, that'd be nice.
His batting stance was pretty interesting, wasn't it? Too.
I don't remember. I just know he hit like 50 bombs a year for like 8 years in a row or something. I don't know if it was that, but he was hitting a lot of home runs. Him, Rafael Palmeiro, like some of those guys. Yeah, we need that era of baseball.
Yeah,
and MLB Show. Pitching too. Get the Rocket in there.
Yeah, get Clemens in there.
I want Doc Gooden in the worst way.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be really cool. Yeah, and I mean they got Eric Gagne in there. I'm pretty sure he was roided out of his mind. I think. I don't know.
I think the same thing with Jeff Bagwell.
Jeff Bagwell has that look. I don't know if he was ever like tested or anything, or his genetics were just off the charts, because that dude was just huge. He was so massive. Yeah.
I feel like some of these guys will show up in the next couple of years. I think we'll see them in the game. Maybe not Barry, because I think he just will never agree to it, but
yeah,
some of the other guys, like I don't see why Sammy Sosa wouldn't like be in the game if they asked him to.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
I would love to see him in the show.
That'd be really cool. His no doubt animation would be tight. I mean, the shuffle step out of the box, that'd be pretty sweet. And maybe have that animation pregame of him running around in the outfield with a flag like he did.
Oh, yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty tight. That'd be really cool. Yeah. But there's just so many options in franchise that like new rosters or creative rosters can make. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what comes out like the month after launch, see who creates like an amazing roster.
Yeah, it's crazy to me how much time that must take.
It takes forever, man.
To make
it takes forever.
Kudos to those people. Hats off. I can never do that, even if I had the time. I think I would
never have the patience.
No.
Yeah, and then they update the same rosters just for like trades, like signings, like overalls. They keep a close eye on it, which is crazy.
Yeah. SDS can't even update rosters for March to October.
No.
Day one rosters all year.
Dude, right? You know, what would be really cool is if you could download any roster and then do March to October.
Honestly, that's a very good idea, Noob.
That would be so cool. I tried to do that once, and then I was just like, "You're not able to use this roster," and I was like, "No."
Yeah, they should figure that out.
Yeah, they should, because that would be legendary.
It just needs you just need to update it. Like by the end, if you want to do a March to October in August, like you're like with the Braves or me for the Jays, like that team's going to be different than it was in April, and you just
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I wonder if their just main focus for March to October is just for XP for Diamond Dynasty. I
think so.
And you get
a more easily simulated season and everything too.
Yeah, and then just like I haven't played it fully in a long time, but I just remember the playoffs were the most grueling part of it, because it was like every single playoff game you're taking over the team from like the 6th inning onwards.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I can't do it. It's the same thing for the whole month. Like I can't do this.
And you have to play every single game. You go into you always go into the playoffs with like your momentum at an all-time high, and it's like you got to play every single game, and you're playing 5 innings of it, and you're basically like getting a 2-run lead and then bunting till the game's over. And then...
Oh man,
yeah,
seriously. Then if you want the most XP, it's like Hall of Fame or Legend difficulty, and you're out in the NLDS and you don't get your XP because you had an off day or something. That would happen to me.
October. Oh, sorry.
No, I was finished. Sorry, man.
I would say March to October. Literally, the only good thing about that is, I think it ties with Team Affinity, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It has in the past.
Yeah. It has in the past. Hopefully, they do that as well. Or it's going to be interesting to see how that works.
Yeah, I don't know, because I know in 2019. Was 19 the first year of March to October? I think so. 19 or 20. Anyway, in those ones it was like a bigger part of it. I think at 21 it wasn't really like you could not touch March to October all year and you would still get all the Team Affinity stuff.
Yep.
So I think my guess for Team Affinity this year is it's going to be pretty much what 21 was. Like you'll do PXP missions and use the cards they give you and whatever sort of like if they give you some flashbacks and stuff in there, use those cards, use the team cards. Maybe they'll have conquest maps probably and stuff like that. But
yeah,
it's back though, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. Like to be able to do that, I'm assuming all year long, that would be cool.
Well, if they do like what they did in the past, I mean, we'll see. Because now we have the team captains, so team captains, I think, is basically going to replace that, like the face of the franchise. Kind of that was like the first card series they kind of kept giving us the last few years. And then they usually did here's your prospects, here's your all-star players, here's
and then Finest was the last one usually.
Yeah, here's a legend, and then here's Finest. So.
I think my favorite was the Team Affinity 4 from 21. That was the one with like Mickey Mantle, and I think Frank Thomas was in there too. Like that was so good. That was so good.
I remember that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
when
that
the
was
Blue
fire.
Jays got John Olerud. Made his one appearance in MLB The Show for
Oh
like,
my God.
for like 3 months, and then he's just never been in the game since or before. They gave him
That's
one.
crazy.
They had him in the Legend trailer at the beginning of the year, and I was like, oh, that's cool. This dude was amazing for us in the 90s. And then they're like, oh, you don't get a card for him until he gets this 99 3/4 of the way through the content cycle, and that's it. And then he was just gone the next year. I was like, oh, he's just.
That's so rough, man.
It always seems so weird when they can only get a Legend for like 1 year. Like,
Doesn't make any sense.
what's the point?
To me, at least.
Like,
Yeah, I don't
at least
get it.
like 2 or 3, and then like whatever cycle out for new guys and stuff, or however it works. But
Yeah,
or like
that
whatever
would
happened
make
with
sense.
Kirby Puckett, he showed up for like a card and then just disappeared. Like,
Yeah, he didn't even get like a good card later that year.
No.
And everybody's just like, "Yo, what the hell happened?"
Remember, everybody was clamoring for that.
Yeah,
well, it's a big name.
it's a pretty big name. It's a pretty big name. I've never really been a huge fan of Kirby Puckett, but I mean, I respect him. I respect everybody else's like desire to have him in the game.
That's how I feel about all the Legends they've been revealing lately. I'm like, they don't do much for me, but like I get why people would like them, and like they're not bad players by any means, but like I'm not like running to the store to buy MLB The Show 23 to use Matt Cain. Like,
Not yet.
Yeah,
not yet.
not yet. Dude, how big of a troll was that? That everybody was clamoring for Tim Lincecum, and then like Matt Cain. That's kind of brutal.
Yeah. I think it's a stepping stone for Lincecum. I've been saying it for a while.
Hopefully,
I hope so.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess my thing is like the first one they gave us was Derek Jeter, who was like, you can't really get whether we're a fan of him or not, you can't get a bigger name really.
You're exactly right.
Than Derek
and then
Jeter.
like they're not gonna wait to show him, especially since he's the Legend cover. I mean, that would be poor marketing.
Still wonder if they're gonna like even do a trailer, if they're just gonna show us a bunch of cards when they do like the.
I've heard people talking. They think that maybe it's gonna be like Monday or Tuesday next week. They'll probably announce it tomorrow, because usually that's when they like announce like what's going on with the week in MLB The Show and stuff like that. So maybe we'll know tomorrow.
What's supposed to be their stream, the Dev tournament? Is that this week?
Yes, yeah, the Dev tournament.
I forgot about that. I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. They switched their schedule up from how like sort of the order they normally do it, and it seems weird. Because usually they would always the last thing they did was the Dev tournament. It's basically like they would do like on the Thursday before like the midnight release or whatever for early access. They'd do some sort of talk about something, and then they would get into Dev tournament and they'd play it right up until like the game went live. But that's
pretty
did
cool
in the past, yeah. So it's
Just
cool
to build
because
the
you're
hype.
like everybody's getting excited to play the game. You're watching them play it, and then it's like maybe they finish it like half an hour before, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, game's going live, and you're like, all right, sick.
Hell yes.
And then you get
Hell
into
yes.
it. Then you start shotgunning Red Bulls and playing MLB The Show until 4 in the morning. I have that clip somewhere still, Nick. So that
That's amazing.
The night of the MLB The Show 21 release, Nick and I and Mick Miller, I think we were in a Discord, and I was like, okay, it was like, because it came out at like 10 p.m. my time, I think, 10 or 11. So it was like not too late, but I was like, all right, we're just gonna do it and pop the Red Bull and then play the game.
That was
for
a
a
really
long
good
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't been around too much. Like he'll pop in from time to time, but I don't know what he's been up to.
Yeah. I remember him just being like insanely busy, and he's like in university right now or college.
Yeah,
I think,
he's
right
Like
now,
a
so.
Also on like
newsman, a news reporter.
He's a news anchor.
That's pretty
or
tight.
Something like that.
Yeah,
That's pretty sick.
we're all just getting older and busier. it's tough.
We are, man. We are.
Keep up with some of these young kids you see that are just putting out content nonstop. You're like, how do you do this? Like, oh, you're like 18 years old.
Seriously, man.
It's a
Like
little bit.
I thought about maybe even doing like an informational video about franchise, and then like, the last time I tried to make like an informational TikTok, it was wrong and I had to delete it. So I was like, well, this is clearly not my wheelhouse.
Oh my god. Yeah, I have to do like maybe 30 or 40 different takes just to get everything like absolutely correct, so I don't stumble, so I don't miss something or something like that. It's awful.
It's so bad. Like I'm right there with you, man. It's just like that is not what I'm here for. Like I basically asked chat what I should do. So like,
hey, that's not like that's a good thing. You want to know what the people want, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Or like I asked them like what are the new features? Like, oh man, it's embarrassing, but that's all right. Like there's so many people that are more like that are smarter and have more knowledge about like how to make the best moves in the game. And like I used to think I was pretty knowledgeable about baseball before I got into streaming, and I'm just like, some of these guys just know so much more than I do.
Yeah.
So it's been humbling.
I don't even pretend to know lots about baseball.
Me too.
I like the Blue Jays, and I like playing baseball video games. That's pretty much it.
Hell yeah.
If you want me to get into like advanced stats with you, I'm like, that's conversations for other people.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Informational videos are so tough to do. That's why like I did a recap of the Diamond Dynasty feature premiere video, and I did like this whole thing. I was like me ranting and recording for like 45 minutes to an hour, and I ended up scrapping the entire thing and redoing it because I was like, oh, I just like when I'm trying to just talk, like come off the top, it just like doesn't go well. So I literally scrapped it and I typed out an entire script of what I was going to say. And then like,
that's awesome.
Cause then I just basically like, I just had to read it. So that like, it's way less takes and stuff unless you want to like sound a little bit different. But, so I did that with my World Baseball Classic content one too, that I just put out. Like I just typed like a page and a half script out, and then you just read it, and then it's easier for me. I find it easier than because then I'm going over it kind of in my head and typing it out before I'm actually recording it. Because what I've done in the past, you just start saying things, then you're like, when I go to edit it, I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of weird, or like, trying to
I understand what you mean.
Cut together when you like fumble your words and make it not look like really jumpy and stuff. So
I can relate so much to that.
Well, yeah,
I do that all the time.
Franchise is so much when you're doing those franchise videos. That's so much talking, right? Like
it's so much talking. Or like sometimes I like editing it because I'll have a lot of talking all at once, and then just like 30 minutes of nothing where I'm like looking for a trade. Yeah, it's like, damn, I just made so much progress. Like, oh, only another 3.5 more hours to edit. So yay.
Yeah, I don't envy editing franchise videos. If anybody ever wants me to do that for them, I'm gonna have to figure out a different
you're gonna have to charge. You're gonna have to upcharge like per minute of footage. Like I think
that's what a lot of guys do. Like it's they'll sort of give you like, okay, if it's gameplay in the like 10 to 12 minute range, it'll cost this much. If you want something more different, then it costs it. But I don't know.
That's smart.
I'm not experienced enough to get into all that.
Me neither.
So.
It'd be too complicated.
It'd be tough.
I like figuring things out, but yeah, that's a little bit much.
Yeah, that's a lot. But it's fun. I like it.
All right. Well, we went like a little bit off topic. We talked about some franchise things in there.
But it was just so natural. Well, this natural segue.
You know what? That is the perfect way for this to go. We want to everybody wants to hear just us talking about stuff. So we'll get back into they talked about what this the diamond in the rough and the bust logic. So like I guess they probably don't have like really anything that's kind of like that right now. You just sort of like do you have a pretty good idea what you're getting when you draft people?
When you draft and you see like their overall how old they are and then like their potential, you get a pretty fair idea because like there has never really been like a huge jump in progression. Like no one will go up 10 overall throughout a season usually. Like I think I've seen players maybe go up like 6 or 7, but that's also not really what I'm looking at when I see players progress. I'm looking at like contact, I'm looking at power, I'm looking at fielding, but you get a pretty fair idea. If you draft an A potential dude who's like 20 years old, his overall is 60, you can pretty much bank on him improving by like 3 to 5 overall per year. So he's going to be probably a big leaguer by the time he's 25, 26, which is also like, that's getting a little bit on the older side nowadays to make your debut when you're an A potential dude, unless you're maybe a catcher or a pitcher. They take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But you can pretty much tell. You can't tell that well from like the scouting point of view when you're looking at the 20 to 80 grades and like what their overall is now on the 20 to 80 scale versus like what the potential is from a 20 to 80 scale. You can't tell extremely well that way, but once you draft the player, you pretty much know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what hell happens and like, because like obviously it happens in real life. People are busts. People like come out of nowhere and they're amazing, and you do find those dimes in the rough. Shout out to Nick's whole podcast, but
yeah,
Oh my God.
I didn't realize that was the name of it. That's pretty cool.
The Diamond in the Rough podcast.
That's awesome.
I need the like sound alert from the Aladdin movie of the Cave of Wonder.
Yes.
The deep voice sand line.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God.
But so I mean that's kind of a fun thing to add. Like when you draft a player and then a year or two down the road, if like all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I drafted this guy and he's like way exceeding my expectations, or the opposite when you're like you have really high hopes for a guy and then you just totally have to rethink, how you're building your team. So
absolutely, like you'll still see some players' potential increase or decrease. Like I just had Garrett Mitchell. His potential decreased, but then like he had a really nice year afterwards, and I really do like how they just adjusted the scale for like numbers of overall instead of potential, because when you get an A potential in like a trade or something, the only way to actually know what potential they are is to go into the editing player screen and look at their potential, and that's the only way to tell. Like you don't know if it's a 90 or a 99,
right?
So that's kind of difficult. That I guess maybe that was a version of Fog of War for these earlier episodes or installments of franchise, but I don't really think they thought about it that way. Like
No,
you
I
could
don't think
also
so.
kind of tell in free agency whenever like you're gonna make an offer to a potential player, you're like 30 years old. If they're looking for $15 million a year, then we're like maybe that's maybe they're on the lower end of the A potential spectrum, but versus asking for a max deal.
Yeah, it's
so
kind of
that's
nice
kind of a way to tell
that they have the like, oh, it's like his potential is what like an 85 to 92 or whatever it is now, that little range, so you can kind of draft and
really cool.
sign players based on that and stuff instead. So
yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see how it plays like in real time to see like do you know that they're a diamond in the rough when you draft them, or like do you know they're a bust, or I guess not, but after a couple of years you're probably going to know if they don't improve any. Yeah.
It's just like
oh my God.
His potential is 56 to 89. You're just like, okay, so maybe he will be a bust.
yeah.
Just a guessing game at that point.
Maybe I'll just draft the guy that's not potentially going to be a bust.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Just go for lower overalls and you're good to go. Maybe you'll get a couple diamonds in the roughs.
Yeah, the only way to go is exceed expectations.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all like actually looks and like how that gets sort of decided once you're actually playing the game.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, so then I think the other last big thing that they spent a lot of time on, well, not all of it. Sorry, my brain. Again, I'm like trying to recap what I was watching right before we were doing this, because when I was watching the actual stream, should we get into this right now? Watching that feature premiere.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I'm down.
Like after like the 40-minute mark, I was just like, oh my goodness, like what am I even listening to right now?
Yeah, I was the same.
It was tough to like keep your attention just on it and listening.
Yeah, like even
The
like
voices were too monotone.
Yeah, they just were like I don't know, like those specifically the people who they had doing it were like not exciting, and not that everybody's always going to be super exciting or whatever, but franchise I think is one of the big ones that I know a lot of people were waiting for to see what would happen, especially after Road to the Show, and then when just kind of come out and it was like the complete opposite of like, oh, this is way too short and not enough information to like you're giving us a lot of information, but like it was almost like too long. It's hard to keep people's attention for 2 hours almost, right? Like there are movies that you watch that are 2 hours and you're like, okay, that was too long, right? Like so let alone when it's just like watching a screen. Like you didn't even see them even. It was just kind of like, here's the screen, and they're just kind of like doing stuff, and it was hard to like focus and not get distracted, because I think when a lot of people are like watching this, some people are like sitting at their computers or whatever, but I had it like on an iPad while I was like trying to make dinner, so it was like tough for
tough to watch,
and just kind of
tough
background
to like
noise,
look at the screens. There's a lot on those screens, like a lot on the menus. So I mean that's really cool, but there's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve, because franchise already has like a lot of things to look at, a lot of things to do during the year, which is awesome. I want even more. So this is like a really great start, and I definitely get it's tough to just watch a stream going over all that stuff if you're not making it super exciting or like super engaging and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess. No, go ahead, Nick.
I was just gonna say that it was good that they expanded, since like they didn't really do that with the Road to the Show stuff. Like just give us more information, give us more examples and stuff like that. But I think they overexpanded a little bit too much.
I agree. I agree with you there. They could have like maybe gone down the bullet points and maybe like point out some stuff with arrows, because some of the things they were pointing out, like the interest level of players increasing per week or whatever, like I didn't even see that at first. Like I had to really look around to even spot that, and I was
like, if they could have just made it a little bit clear.
Super small writing. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that was my sort of like
cool.
I guess question after watching and listening to it, was like, I'm not a franchise person. Like I touch it here, like play it here and there, but that was more of the question, like for you, and why we wanted to have you on, is like, you as a franchise guy, like if it was, if you were feeling the same way I was watching that, or if like you were getting a lot out of it, like what do you think they could have done better? Like is there a better way they could have like just maybe streamline the information a little bit more? Or
I think streamlining the information would have been good. I think that would have been really good. As far as a feature premiere, I think one thing they have to do is put themselves in the players' shoes who've never played franchise before, and like, how can we make this a little bit more exciting and draw people in a little bit more? Because that could really help their overall sales and everything, because they already know a lot of the players are just there for Diamond Dynasty, and they know they have to cut off content at a certain point. Like, why not get them engaged in franchise so that when they do cut off the content, like there's something else to go to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like maybe some zooms or some like arrows pointing out some things, maybe them just going down a bullet point list, and just like, I hate to say it, but like maybe shove it in our faces a little bit more in a quicker way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're living in the era of like instant short form content, and then all of a sudden it's like, we spend all our days watching like a billion TikToks, and then you go and watch this 2-hour thing of like just these dudes talking where you can't see their faces. You don't really know what's going on, because you're like struggling to keep paying attention, because you're probably pulling out your phone to watch TikTok while this is going on.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Dude, so true, man. Like I was like, I swiped up on Twitch and went to Twitter and like was looking through my timeline while I was trying to listen to them them go over stuff that they've already talked about. And like, you're exactly right. Like everyone's so engaged in short form, and then 90 minutes.
Meanwhile, we're like just doing a podcast about it, so we're just perpetuating the system.
Oh, how ironic!
Oh my god, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think with franchise, like I think it's a huge opportunity to like capture more like sort of casual gamer, casual baseball fans. Like, because when I started playing MLB The Show, basically like I bought a PS4 because that's the only place you could play baseball after 2K was dead for however many years. So I bought it. I'm like, I want to play MLB The Show. I bought MLB 17, and then I just played like Road to the Show and franchise, because I'm like, I just want to make a guy where I go play for the Blue Jays, or I want to just like play with this Blue Jays team and see how good I can do. Because I think Diamond Dynasty, like most people who first get MLB The Show, they're not just hopping necessarily straight into Diamond Dynasty. You always kind of like just play baseball first, and then you're like, what is Diamond Dynasty? And then that's where I got into like watching content, because I was like, oh well, I want to
Same.
like see what people are doing on YouTube and whatever, and then I would start seeing like all the videos people were making and streams, and it was all like Diamond Dynasty content. So I was like, okay, well this is cool, because I remember the first time I ever opened Diamond Dynasty, I had no clue what I was looking at, and I was like, this is overwhelming. I'm just gonna shut this down. I hopped into like a ranked game with like my team full of bronzes and silvers against some diamond squad. I'm like, what is going on? How is this fun for anyone? So I'm just like, okay, I'm out. And then I'm go back to like, oh, I'm just gonna hit like 75 home runs with Josh Donaldson and this Blue Jays franchise this year and whatever, and like that was like fun to me. So I think like
Yep.
franchise and Road to the Show are like huge sort of like entry level modes for people to get into the game, and then obviously you can get them sucked into the Diamond Dynasty grind later on. But so yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. Like make it a little more in your face, and like, hey, new people who don't necessarily buy the game or who buy it like every 3 years, like this is come play baseball.
Yeah.
What's your favorite team and stuff?
Absolutely. I mean, that was like how it all started back when MLB The Show first came out in like 06. Like that's what I started with, and that's hilarious that you Tango said you bought a PS4 just for MLB The Show. Like my first nursing paycheck I spent on a PS4 so I could get MLB The Show, because I switched from PlayStation to Xbox when the Xbox 360 came out, and they didn't have any sort of really good baseball game. They had like 2K, and it was all right, but it wasn't MLB The Show.
That was a fun game. The Bigs?
Oh, I always heard amazing things. I never played it. It's so good.
No, I never played it either.
I remember playing Slugfest back on the PS2, and it was legendary.
Yeah, I was always an Xbox guy, like because I was a big Halo. The first like 4 games were like big fan.
Halo 3, baby.
Oh my god,
I've never
Halo
touched
3.
It was so good.
If I could have a track of like how many hours I played of Halo 3, that would blow any video game ever out of the water by probably 10 times.
It was the best, man. Like I missed those days. Those were so good.
Nick, you missed out. It was so
good.
I've
never played Halo ever in my whole life. Same with Minecraft too.
I've never played Minecraft.
I've never played Minecraft.
I'm 37,
oh, thank God, I'm not alone there.
Okay, yeah, you're not alone. Like it looks too much for me, man.
I feel like I'm just like my kids are just too young. Like they don't play video games yet, and then I'm like too old. That Minecraft wasn't a thing when I really played video games. So I'm like just in the opposite generation of the Minecraft generation. They're all the like people who are like 20 and under kind of. But yeah, I always played Halo, and then I would buy my thing always was like buying one sports game a year. So I'd buy like NHL one year, then Madden, then I would buy a 2K baseball, and that's kind of what I would do, because I never played them that much, but they were just like extra games that I would have to play. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to play Halo or Call of Duty. I'll go play some NBA or whatever. But then I was like, man, it was like the Blue Jays got good. I started watching more baseball and stuff. And I'm like, man, this MLB The Show game, because I always see commercials for it. I'm like, this looks awesome. And I can't play any baseball games on my Xbox One. So I'm like, okay.
I was real salty about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like 5 years later, it's like, oh, now you can again.
Yeah, finally.
See, I feel like most PlayStation people are Xbox guys, but they just buy a PlayStation so that they can play MLB The Show.
100%. I think so too. But now, like, I'm also salty because I hear guys like Ochev and Ray Cheesy. They're like, yeah, it's so much better on Xbox. I'm like, y'all had 15 years to make MLB The Show on PlayStation, and you're saying it's been on Xbox for 2 and it's better there. All right. That's cool. That's where my loyalty gets me.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to play it more. Like I have an Xbox, and I very rarely play MLB The Show on it, but I didn't notice a huge difference. But it's also like I probably just haven't played on it enough to be good at it, I guess. It just feels weird because I play on the PlayStation for like how many days in a row, and then you just turn on Xbox, it's just like feels weird. You're like, oh, I'll just turn that off and go back to what I'm used to.
But, what Xbox do you have?
I have the Series X.
Okay, I have an Xbox One, so I got last gen, and I tried playing it, and it was like super choppy for me for some reason. I don't know if it's my monitor or if it's just how it is on old gen, but I feel for whoever plays on old gen right now, because it was just a very laggy, choppy experience.
Yeah,
I can definitely imagine.
You know what I did find though is like playing. If you like play older MLB The Shows on your PS5 that were made when PS5 didn't exist, I think they play better on a PS4. To be honest, like MLB 19.
I see.
Like it there's like when I play it on, it seems kind of laggier than it did. Like because I don't have my PS4 anymore, but I kind of switched back once and I was like, oh, this feels way better playing on. I was playing on a TV on a PS4 and it felt better than playing on my like monitor on a PS5. But
it's wild.
Like the new games wouldn't, but like the older ones, because they were meant to. They kind of like, you know, when I think when your console tries to like upscale and like make things perform better than they were meant to, it's not a good thing.
I think you're right.
But
I think you're definitely right about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man. Another tangent.
Hey, we're good at that, man. Like, dude, we're really good at just running with it. Like, it's just so natural.
It's so natural, and that's what makes it good. And,
yeah, exactly.
I'm glad that we have more to talk about than just like bullet points of the thing. So it's good.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
It's good. Like, but then we can get into sort of, I guess, the last like big things was like the whole draft, like basically system basically seems to be redone. Like anytime I've played franchise, because I've never had like a large enough attention span to like go through and like I just always sim the drafts and stuff. Like I basically just like I go through it because I just want to like go trade for Shohei and play a season and see how my team does when I make it the best possible. So I've never really like done like I would say like franchise justice when I played it. Like I've never tried to like start from point A and like 5 years down the road, where's my team at kind of a thing. It's more like anytime I do it, it's like speed running franchise for a year to see how good of a team I can make in maybe 1 or 2 seasons and then just like restart. So
yep, makes sense.
Yeah, so I'd love to know your thoughts, Noob, on like the draft system and everything they showed us regarding that, like all the new screens and everything.
I really like the scouting screen. Like scouting is something that in MLB The Show 22 and previous versions, I would just put scouting on auto and just like let them do their thing. Like I would make sure to hire all the best scouts so they could just do it for me. But I'm glad it's sort of a week to week basis, because then in 22 and before that, it was like a day by day basis. So it was just so cumbersome and just so tedious if you're trying to if you're really trying to look at prospects, and also if you're playing a sim style franchise, it just takes so long. You're going to spend 75% of your time in your sim just putting assignments for scouts. And I'm just so happy they chose just like, it looks like 3 scouts now for
I think it was 3
weeks at a time. Yeah. And it looks so cool. Just having the class and like the doctor exam is new. So you're going to be able to see if someone's pending a physical. Like, are we going to have the storylines potential there? Like we saw in the offseason with Carlos Correa. Like the same thing could happen in your franchise. And like, I think that'd be pretty cool. And it could make for some risky picks, but for some like amazing storylines too. And the bonus allotment too, like you're signing your draft picks. That is going to be extremely interesting, because I think they only showed 1 or 2 examples like of the big time prospect getting like 75% of your whole bonus pool. And I'm just like, man, how are we gonna like sort of work with that to be able to sign all of our other prospects? Like that's going to be really interesting, and really interesting to see like what kind of interest the players have. Like, is 52 interest like okay? Are they going to sign with me if I give them, what they're asking for? Or am I going to have to get their interest all the way up to like 75, 80, 90%? That's going to be really interesting. And then like after you draft them, just like it's not a sure thing that they'll sign, which is wild. And it's going to be kind of cool, but it's going to be really interesting. I do too. It adds a lot more depth, a lot more storyline, and just the draft screen in general, being able to like control your queue and see where players go. I think it works a lot better, because you're going to be able to keep track of the players that you have interest in. you didn't have that in previous games, and you would have to like go back and look through the draft order to see like what person you were interested in, if they got taken or not. And it was always a heartbreaker whenever you drafted someone in that round and you were thinking about taking the other guy, and the other guy ends up being like a 95 potential, and you just drafted a 77 potential, like 25-year-old just dude with an amazing arm and 15 contact. You're just like, well, they're not going to play ever. So that was great. But it's just, I think it's a big W. I really do. And we'll see how it plays. Obviously, we've all heard them say like trade logic has improved. It's way better now. Like we could have another one of those situations. I hope not, and I don't think there will be, but we're just gonna have to see what happens. And I'm really excited.
Yeah, all the draft stuff like definitely seems like really immersive. Like you could really just all of a sudden like 2 hours go by and you're just like looking at scouting different players, and you're like, oh, like spent all this time before like, you know, even deciding if you're going to draft them or this or that. So
yeah, I mean, that's happened to me. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me, dude. Like, I'm just like, I'm gonna try to get through 2 years in like an hour and a half, and I look over, I'm like at the off season before year 2, and I'm an hour and 45 minutes into my recording, and I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. So I can't imagine how much worse that's gonna be. Like I'm gonna have 10 hours of footage to.
You have to like a separate video just for like your scouting and drafting, and then
I mean, honestly, you really could do that. Like, it adds more strategy to it and everything. Like, you could do it
very true,
like a part 1 of 2 or something like that if you really needed to.
That's very true. That's very, very true. I like that. Like, it's gonna be cool to see, and I'm super stoked because this is the biggest franchise update since I started playing, or at least started streaming or had a YouTube channel. Like, this is by far the most they've put into franchise, so it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you anything they talked about in like previous years franchise like feature streams. Like, I
just don't remember past feature premieres anyway. So.
Yeah, I don't remember them either. I just remember even before I started with Diamond Dynasty, I think I remember watching MLB The Show 18's feature premiere like the day after or something, and it was just like nothing updated, and I was just like, this is sad. This is unfortunate. I'm still gonna buy it, but it's still mad unfortunate. Looks like my camera froze over there. Can you all?
Yeah,
I
was about to say, is that me or is that you?
No, I don't know.
My camera's been doing that.
Oh my god, it's my OBS. Okay. Let's see here.
There we go.
Hey.
Nice. Yay. Back. Okay. Sorry about that, fellas. All right.
It's all good.
All right. Where were we?
I don't even know. We talked about
I know,
talked about scouting and the draft, getting lost in scouting and
the strategy of it all and everything. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
We're talking about like the different series that you could do with like.
Scouting
/ drafting, and then the rest would be your franchise.
That's right. Like it'll be really cool. Like I definitely looking at my previous videos and like how they did. I think the multi-year deal per episode is probably the way I want to go, because I thought yearly episodes were gonna take like less time. I'd be able to get through a lot, but that's a lie. That was a lie. It's even worse because I try to put more in an episode and then like editing each specific episode, and it's just kind of defeats the purpose. And like I've seen some of my previous longer videos do a lot better than like my episodes, and especially if someone clicks on the first episode and is just like kind of not interested, they're not going to watch the second or third, and like that sort of thing. Like I think just one video per franchise or rebuild is the move for me, at least, and that could always change.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, start making some doing it and see what happens, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess my next question for you is going to be like, when you now that you've been playing so much franchise, because you have you always been like really into franchise and like played a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
Because like I've always just kind of seen you play Diamond Dynasty on streams and stuff until like the last few months, and then you like all of a sudden it's like, oh, Noob's popping up with like all this franchise content.
Yep.
So when like when you get 23, is like franchise the first thing you want to like check out, or?
I think I'll probably end up checking Diamond Dynasty out first. It's funny. The first type of content I ever did was YouTube videos, like franchise videos.
I
And,
remember
like,
those.
if you go deep into my YouTube stuff, there's some like really poorly edited franchise videos. It's actually hilarious. I edited them with share play on play or I think that might be what it's called. I forgot what it's called, but it was like the editing service on your PlayStation, and you're only allowed like 50 cuts per video.
I didn't know that was
like,
a thing.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called. I'm completely off, probably with the name, but I did that for a little bit, and I'm surprised anyone ever watched that. It's hilarious. Like they're just extremely poor quality, and just like only up from there. But I had always loved franchise. I've been playing franchise since MLB The Show came out, and I didn't really know what Diamond Dynasty was, and then I started playing it. I saw everyone playing that on stream. I didn't see anyone playing franchise on stream. So in my mind, I was kind of like, well, if I want to stream, this is what I got to do. So I just started playing Diamond Dynasty, and in MLB 20, I got addicted to it like pretty well. And turns out yeah. And I still love franchise. I had done a couple streams with franchise in 22 in the like May, when I wasn't feeling Diamond Dynasty so much. I was just kind of like feeling really poor about the game overall. So I was like, I got to try to do something different if I'm not really feeling 22. So that was something I did just for a couple times. So I'm not sure. I think I will start doing franchise streams eventually. I think I might do that on YouTube though.
I was going to say,
They are a lot of fun to watch.
If you're,
I appreciate that, man.
Like your YouTube crowd knows you for franchise, I would do the franchise streams on YouTube.
Absolutely.
That's what I think I'm going to do. I was actually thinking about maybe doing one tomorrow or even the weekend afterwards, because I've always wanted to do a draft only franchise like on YouTube, and I just don't think I have enough time to record one and edit one in time before 23 drops. And I'm just like, I'm not going to do it if I am able to drop it like 2 days before 23 comes out. I would rather like put my time into different things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like it's draft only franchise. I've just played that once just on my own, and it's been so cool. It's been really fun just because I'm a big prospect guy. I love prospects, and like I hoard prospects, and that's a way I can do it guilt free.
Yeah, I always see you in your videos like giving up more established guys for little prospect bundles all the time.
Oh yeah.
It has more strategy and everything too.
Big prospect guy. But Alex Anthopoulos would never. But are you all considering doing some franchise stuff with your all's content, depending on like if it's fun or not? Or
I think I will. Like I've been wanting to like get into it for a while now. I'll probably mix in a little bit of franchise with Diamond Dynasty, and then probably like when the fall rolls around, when content starts to slow down a little bit, I'll probably start doing some more of it on stream. But primarily Diamond Dynasty for me.
I think that's a smart play.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I don't know. I've been wanting to, but I feel like I almost missed the boat. Like I should have done a little bit of 22 stuff, because I just know me. As soon as 23 drops, I'm gonna be like so engulfed in Diamond Dynasty that
I'm the same way.
I'm just like not gonna have. I'm not gonna make the time to do anything else, because I don't know. I love Diamond Dynasty too much, or maybe I'm just way too addicted to it. Like it's one of the.
I think it's addiction.
A little bit of both.
I think it's a little bit of both. As long as you love it, then like I think you're doing it. I think you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Like
because I just like. If you guys know me, I mean, Nick knows this. Like, I just get obsessed with like collecting things, like in real life, like whether it was like I showed Nick my picture of my hat collection that was like from like 3 years ago, and it was like insane.
I
Not
almost had a
insane,
heart
but like
attack
it was a
just looking
lot.
at that. I'm
Or
like,
like shoes or baseball cards, all this stuff. Like I get into it and then I just want. So
Yep.
like in Diamond Dynasty, like I just like I want to get any cards I can as fast as I can and like as many of them as I can. It's not even necessarily always about like playing the game. It's just like, okay, well, I'm going to play this many event games and win them until like get this many event wins until I can get whatever cards that just came out. Because I rarely like once I kind of get that stuff, I don't find myself like going back to play too much, but generally for most of the year, there's enough to do that you're always working towards something.
Yep.
But that's like kind of why it's been hard for me to play this game now is because
it's so hard to do, man.
It's
I just
difficult, man.
constant BR runs over and over and over and over until
Yeah.
23 comes. For
well, like
me.
even a month ago, like I got the last card. Like it's the first time that I've filled up my binder with like every like legend and flashback card that they had. Just because it's
pretty
like
tight, man.
been the easiest year to get stubs and to get cards. So I'm like, oh, I did it. And now I'm like, well, now what is there for me to do? Like I literally, this is how bored I was. I went through and I finished off every equipment collection, every uniform collection. Just because I'm
That's
like,
awesome,
oh,
man.
I have 3 million stubs and I have all the cards and I don't want to just like open packs for no reason. So I'm like, I'm just going to go buy all of the catcher masks.
Honestly, I thought you
Yes.
were going to say that you bought the live series all over again a couple times. That's where I thought you were going.
No, I already have every card. I wouldn't buy them again. I mean, I could.
I got like 50 Luis Gonzalez's just burning a hole in my binder, man. Because I thought people were gonna need them, and once that program left, like it was gonna be very, very difficult to obtain those. And nope, I was wrong. That's why I'm not a
No.
market guru.
They this year they kind of just said we're not going to really give any cards a really high long-term value, except for like maybe the BR rewards and the World Series rewards, kind of, but they're still pretty easy to get. Like you get enough BR programs at the end of the year that like if you do it, like I know they sell for $1 million, but that's just because people are like too lazy to do the program. They'll just buy them for that. So but everybody has enough stubs to do that. Like it's not hard to get 1 million stubs in MLB The Show anymore. I mean, like I think
No,
like,
just go to events and then you're golden.
the first couple years I played, I don't think I ever hit 1 million stubs until like maybe MLB 20. I was like, oh wow, this is crazy.
I remember I flipped the market some in 18 because I just liked opening packs. I had no intention of actually playing Diamond Dynasty. I didn't even have a PlayStation Live. Like I didn't have like online play, I don't think at the time.
In 18, you could like flip golds for like 1,500 stubs a piece too. You can make some good profit in 18.
That's crazy.
I would like
crazy, dude.
Because they had so many flashback golds. I would literally like go on like the show website before they had the app and then just like buy and sell flashback golds on there, or do it with like the stupid bobbleheads, man. I flipped so many of those to make stubs to finish off Immortals.
Bobbleheads.
I'm so happy I didn't have to experience that year.
MLB
I've heard
18,
nothing but misery.
I've
heard
there were bobbleheads for like players. There were baseballs, like signed baseballs, jerseys, hats, and you couldn't use them in any capacity in the game. They were just used as
were just there.
They were just used as currency to unlock players. So it's like, oh, you need to collect 275 St. Louis Cardinals hats as part of the program to get Albert Pujols Immortal card. Right?
I wish I would have played MLB 18 just to see what it was like.
I remember seeing those and I was just like, those are cool, but I didn't really understand what they were for.
They're stupid.
And after hearing about it, I'm just like, oh my God, that's miserable. That's so miserable. And apparently like the Immortals were the only 99s. So just like every lineup was the same.
Yeah.
Like if you had
were, I don't even know if there were 20 of them in total. You had like almost like some positions maybe had 2 players, or you maybe had like at most 2 players at one position that were Immortals. And then there's like 6 starting pitchers, and I think there's only 3 relievers that were Immortals. Those were the only 99s. Like even finest at the end of the year were like 98s and lower. Yeah. And this is how much of a sucker for the grind. I grinded every single one of them. I think
That's
I'm one of the
awesome.
very few that had
That's sick.
all of them, except for there was Clayton Kershaw and I think Ryan Sandberg you could only get from making World Series, and you couldn't buy World Series cards off the market back then.
Oh,
So if you didn't make World Series, you didn't have those cards. So those are the only
I think
two
you should
that
go
didn't
back to
have.
that, honestly. But
dude, honestly, I feel like it was so much more fun when they didn't have the World Series program.
Mhm.
Like, I get the BR program, but I think World Series program should just go away. Not to make
Yeah.
this a Diamond Dynasty stream or podcast.
We can talk about it all, man. I am the biggest advocate for getting rid of the World Series. Actually, I think they should get rid of the BR program too, or like have one. They can have a program associated to it, but I think the like flawless reward should be a flawless reward. Like you can still get that 90-point reward card, which is usually a decent one. Or
I feel that.
or maybe have like a
that's good.
separate, like instead of having like a choice pack of 2, it's just like, hey, this is what you can get if you go flawless, and this is.
And I
what
mean, if you can still buy them on the market too, that's awesome. But like,
yeah, because you
for
can,
the most part, like if you make World Series or go BR, I feel like you should get that exclusive, reward.
Yeah.
Like, since you put in the work.
Or maybe make the program ones non-sellable.
yeah.
So I think that would be at least a step. Like making World Series in 20 was just so amazing. Like I mean, people played. They did not quit that year.
Tell me what it's like to make World Series noob.
Yeah, me too.
I made it once in 21.
I
like-
have never tried. Like I've never actually been
You would
like,
be able to.
I'm going to try.
Yeah,
to
that's,
make World
I
Series.
tell them that all the time. 24/7.
You would definitely be able to, man.
It's so
Trust
time
me.
consuming though. Like that's my problem is like if you, especially at the beginning of the year, to go from rating 0 to 900, you got to play like 30 plus games at least.
Yeah, you do.
Usually.
Like,
Like
yeah,
32
you're
or
right.
something.
Which like it's a lot. Like when you see those guys that like the really good players that like the guys who were first to World Series or whatever, and you just like, man, they like play like whatever. I went 25-0 and I'm in World Series. I'm like, I don't have time to play 25 9-inning games. And I know like they're gonna
it's
get quits
tough.
and stuff like that. It's hard for me to sit down and like be invested to play 2 in a row. Like
Dude, yeah, it's tough, especially if they're like super draining, especially on stream, like 2 or 3 max if I'm actually trying to like get to World Series.
well, because those games can be like 45 minutes plus sometimes.
I just don't have the
Yeah.
attention span for it.
It's just like, holy shit, some of the guys you play, you got to be on every single
Mhm.
inning. And just like, I don't have to do that if you're playing the event. Or
BR.
yeah, you don't really need that in BR until you're like 6-0, and then everything is then you got to be locked in a little
You
bit.
can do like a whole 12 game BR run in like the time it takes to play like 3 see, I swear, like the time
Dude,
it takes to play like 3
yeah.
ranked seasons games, and it's like you just get little breaks in between. Like don't get me wrong, once you get past like 8-0, BR games are absolute sweat fests, but like they're stressful.
Yeah.
I was 11-0
yeah.
one time ever, and it was like the most stressful game of
No.
MLB The Show I've ever played, and I lost, of course.
No.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
once. So,
That's-
and I lost 2 in a row. I ended up 11-2. How brutal is that?
Oh,
That's
awful.
so rough, man.
And then I've gone
Like, especially
12,
if it's
12-1 one time, but yeah.
you can do it, man. Like I hate BR though. I hate BR so
BR's,
much.
yeah.
Even the program. There's a couple times I did the program and it was like the last day and I started from like 10 points and I was just like, well, I guess I got to do this.
Yeah.
And I suffered for like 4 to 5 hours and it's just like, I don't enjoy it.
I can't, like, casually
thoroughly
play
don't
it.
enjoy it.
I don't think anybody enjoys it personally.
Yeah.
So
Like, except the dudes that have like 40 of them, like
That's
Playful,
crazy.
Cheesy, and
I just like
Xanderverse. They
the
got,
way
like,
the way
so
the
many.
game has played the last like 3 years. I just don't know how anyone can actually even do it. Like it just seems impossible. Like it just seems just way too likely that 1 out of 12 games you're just going to get screwed into a loss. Like
Yep.
like
100%. And like
100%
I'll tell you
agree.
what, if it wasn't for the BR program, I would not play BR.
yeah, same here. Yeah.
Like I hardly played it all in 20 when there wasn't a program.
yeah.
Like it's just not fun for me at least.
I can't remember which year it was when I was 11-0. 19 or 20, one of those ones.
I think you said it was 19.
Probably. Yeah.
Dude, what's crazy is what was it in 17 or something? You had to win 20.
20?
Yeah, I think that's true. I heard that. I heard
Yeah, it
someone
used
say
to be
that. I
more.
think it
I
was
never played
Stan,
it at
maybe.
all back then. Like I started playing
no
Diamond
way.
Dynasty like
Yeah, it's insane.
I'd go nuts. No.
Just like I'm a
Please.
positive dude. I'm a very optimistic dude, but like I'm not going 20-0. I'm sorry. Like I believe in myself. Like maybe I'll win 10. But dude, 20, that's just out of my reach.
That's way too much.
Like, I can't do that.
No
shot.
BR has gone through a lot of changes. Like he used to only have like 2 diamond rounds. He used to not get diamonds at 9 wins. Like a lot of things are different.
Wait a minute, not get diamonds at nine wins?
Yeah, you used to not get diamonds.
Oh,
like
I
when
see
you
what
get
you're
to a
saying.
run
Like
because you get
the
that
rewards.
the 9-win reward diamond. Like it used to not be a diamond. I don't think.
Okay. Don't you get like a now it's like 85 to 89 diamond and then a 90 plus?
A
Something like
90
that, yeah.
plus at 12, I think.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, because I remember like people used to be. That's like how all the good players would get. Trout was like from getting 12 wins at BR. You used to be able to get Trout. Like I remember when Trout was like when he was a 99 live series before attributes went over 99, and you used to get him like you'd be able to get him as an event reward. I remember I think it was in MLB 18. I won 12 games in events and I got Trout that way.
That's wild. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like hopefully we see some more event creativity this year too.
Oh my God. This is a whole other podcast. Every time this comes up, Nick and I are like, we just have to seal our mouths because events used to be amazing.
I'm the biggest advocate for events.
Like 19, 20, 21
event,
events were so good. 22.
I'll just say this: the one thing, the events in the tech test were better than the events in all of them.
That's
all of
wild.
Them.
That's wild. You're probably right, man. I think you're probably right about that.
There was no creativity in 22 at all.
No,
I swear, like the last 10 events were just like use whatever players you want. They like disguised it as like, oh, you can only use Retro Finest and Takashi in this one. That's like all your cards.
I know. Like you can't use your MVP. You can't use your awards
And it was
cards.
like, oh,
guess what, dude?
yeah.
There's only 20 of those.
Yeah.
Oh, and you get to see Randy Johnson every event too. Ooh.
Now we're in Moonshot event 14. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like Moonshot is cool like once a year, but not like once a month, dude.
Yeah, I think at this point we've blown up the moon. It's safe to say.
They used to only do it once.
Maybe twice.
One Moonshot event. Usually, like right before the All-Star break, they'd do like, oh, you can only play with American League guys and then National League guys, and then you do a Moonshot event. That was kind of like how it went.
I remember it was like only righty hitters against lefty pitchers, and like that was fun.
Yeah,
that
I
was
that
really
too.
fun.
Yeah,
like I wish they'd bring
the
that
old
back.
event from 20. I think they did like divisional events or stuff like that. They had like 6 innings quick counts.
Yep, I do remember that.
I love those.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't mind those. I mean, they last about as long as a 3-inning game with them putting it on quick counts.
And enough people quit after going down 2-0 that whatever, you're getting wins just as fast.
Yeah,
exactly. I wish we could have got a Hall of Fame event this year.
That's literally what I was just about to say. Like, I wish there was like a couple different tiers, like a all-star tier or a Hall of Fame tier. That way you can just keep your skills up if you want. If you were like at 700 and ranked, like that way you wouldn't have to go to the event and go down to all-star if you weren't feeling like playing ranked that day and just totally lose your feel for faster pitching.
That's a really good idea. Hire Noob for SDS.
Yes. I come at a price though, so yeah, my time's very valuable. I need some. Yeah, just put some stubs in my account and maybe we'll talk.
Oh man, the Diamond Dynasty things that I could talk about is endless.
Yeah, dude. Me too. I could talk about it for quite some time. Just like I hate events now. I hate BR. Like ranked is a cesspool. Like what am I to do? Conquest,
Showdown.
Showdown.
Low key, I really like Showdown. I wish we got more of those.
Like, I love Showdowns. There's so many people that hate Showdown. They're just like, oh, I can't do it.
I'm one of those. I can't stand it.
Dude, I missed in 20 when you could like get team affinity points from doing Showdown. Like I really, really like that.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh man, the MLB 21 Extreme Showdown was like so much fun.
Yeah. Was it 22 or 21? Did 21
Or 20.
have Extreme?
20.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 21 didn't have Extreme.
Whichever
Was
one
20 with
had,
Nate Pearson?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Facing Nate Pearson. Because
That
right,
dude's
20,
card was-
21 didn't have Extreme, and then 22 they brought it back, but it was like Extreme Light where everything was not Extreme at all.
I was so underwhelmed with that program. Like
Yeah, so was I.
You could play that Conquest without even playing a game on Hall of Fame. Like you
that's
only had to play
insane
All Star.
me.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even have to play, or maybe one game. Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, that's such a slap in the face to those of us who had to play like 25 Hall of Fame games in MLB The Show 20.
you
I
should
remember
have seen
watching,
Extreme
like- yeah,
Conquest
dude.
in 18. You had to like restart the map like 8 times because they just didn't give you enough turns to do all the missions. So you literally would have to start it over and go a different direction and do like these games. Like, so you would do the map probably like 10 times or like,
Yeah,
I think the quickest one
that's
was like maybe 5 or
crazy.
6 times if you did it, if you won every game on like Hall of Fame and Legend. But yeah, there wasn't
crazy,
there wasn't
man.
even a single moment on Legend in Extreme this year. Like I was like, this is not Extreme.
Yeah, those moments in 20 were difficult. I mean, I think you had to hit 3 bombs with Christian
Oh,
Yelich on
Yelich.
Hall of Fame.
Oh my
in one
god, I
game.
did a full
Like, damn.
stream and I played it for 3 hours.
No way.
Just that moment,
Oh my
the whole
God,
stream,
man.
and I didn't do it. I came back my
That's
next stream and I finally got it, but yeah, it was literally me for an entire stream. It was like 2.5 hours of playing that moment. I think Nick, you were there. Like
I was there. I
Yeah.
remember that.
I
I
was
tried
like-
it like 5 times and I gave up. And I'm like, no.
oh,
Oh my god.
I did it.
man.
Eventually, I got it, but like, yeah, this is my.
That's crazy,
I don't
man.
know. I don't know if we should get into my biggest gripe with Diamond Dynasty is they just make everything too easy and they just give it to you for nothing.
That's kind of where I am. I wish there was a little bit more. I wish it took a little bit more, make it feel more rewarding. I mean, I get what they're doing, and I'm happy for those players that don't necessarily have the type of skill. But man, my selfishness is saying like, let's bring the grind back a little bit.
I feel that 100%.
I think they should
Yeah.
make it more of a grind. Like
Like I would try the Immortal stuff if I had MLB.
I would
what was
too.
That, MLB 18 or was that 18 or 19?
18.
Dude.
18. I would have loved to try that because it seems fun. It's a challenge.
Yeah, and like if they make it a little more grindy, but then like
was
make
so
the
grindy.
programs like the it's so grindy. Make the programs like the inning programs in 20 where you can still do them even though the next one's out. Like there's always going to be something to grind. Which
Yeah,
is
that's
cool.
kind of what I find weird sometimes is like as soon as the like feature program's over, there's like certain things you can't go do anymore. So if you like pick up the game in July, like you couldn't go do like all the moments from the first program and stuff. Like you can do like the certain ones, but not certain ones. Because I was trying to look for a moment the other day in 22, and I'm like, oh, I guess this was from a feature program, so I can't go play this Ricky Henderson moment. I was just so I could clip his home run animation.
That makes sense.
But I was like, oh, there was a moment for his, but like, oh, I guess I just can't do it because it was in whatever program. But I don't know. Diamond Dynasty. We'll see. This year,
Yeah.
it sounds like it's going to be way different, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I am very optimistic, I will say, because like 22 was not a good year in my opinion. Like
The content
overall,
was good.
yeah,
but-
I think you're right about that. You are definitely right about that.
In a way. Like the cards they gave you were good. I don't think the way that it was done was good, though.
No,
like it wasn't
They
bad.
could have
I feel
expanded
that.
it even to like the
feel that.
last week. They could have
Yeah.
expanded it.
Like you got more we had more cards than ever, which is great, but like you get so many all at once all the time, and it's just like, to me it doesn't make sense. Like you have like especially with every with all the different card series that they can do. Like they can give any card basically a juiced up 99 card, so it gives you almost an unlimited option for the cards that you can put out in the game. But it's like
Also,
then why then why just like cut it off at the end of November? Like, even if you kept the same amount of cards in the game, you could take 30 of those cards, not give them to us earlier, and just spread it out for another month and a half.
Yep.
Because there was such a weird, like a big dead space from when the content ended to when they started pushing stuff for 23 this year that felt longer than ever.
Oh god, that was what, like, started at the very end of November. My god, the last couple of months have been painful. Like, I still stream consistently, and it's so hard just to sit there and just play VR and not lose my mind.
Yeah, dude.
You're a champ
for real. Like,
for
you're
the amount
doing
you
well.
played this game.
You're doing very well, sir.
The game, I hate it right now.
Yeah, there's
so
a reason like I didn't stream for 6
God.
months.
Yeah,
Like,
I was literally
there's-
like playing moments that I hadn't played yet, just to like finish off the XP. I think I'm like 30,000 XP away from the very end of the Forever program. So I've
Getting
just been
the
I'm
like,
surprised
icon.
you're not finished that yet.
I haven't played the game much lately.
I finished it like a month ago.
Yeah, you know how much more MLB
Oh,
The Show
man.
you've played than me in the last month? 100 times, if not more.
70 days, man.
I basically play Wing Wednesday,
wild,
and that's
man.
about it.
And I haven't even been able to make it. And I'm big sad about that.
But you were able to make it on the On Deck Circle.
Oh, hell yeah. If only,
Facts.
like, if you ever do Wing Wednesday on a wing Saturday or Wing Sunday,
I'll do what Nick
or
does.
if you do like maybe switch the food up, maybe like a scallop Saturday or a sushi Sunday.
Ooh, a sushi
Then, like,
Sunday sounds
yeah,
nice.
y'all can use that if you
I
want.
like-
I can't do it. It's too expensive. Neither are scallops are too expensive too. So just
Yeah, that's true. Gotta get a
nope,
bacon wrap.
can't do that. Yeah, an egg every day. I don't know. Like eggs would be awful. Like, yeah,
That would
eggs
be
would-
so brutal.
it would be so brutal. But that's
just
like the
eat-
cheapest thing I could think of, just like right off the rip.
I'll eat 10 different ways to cook an egg. I'll have like a poached egg and like a over easy egg, and then the last one be like a hard boiled egg, just a raw egg.
Scrambled.
Oh yeah, yes, the raw eggs.
Let's call it
Oh.
egg on your face Saturday, and
You
again,
could probably make some pretty funny.
I make some
graphics
little
out of that.
cracking egg emotes and stuff.
Yeah,
Somebody's
Hell yeah.
gonna listen to this podcast and be like, "That's the best idea I've ever heard," and then I'm gonna see it on Twitch in like 2 weeks.
yeah. Then
gonna
then you have all the right in the world to be like, you stole that idea, sir. Better get
Facts.
yourself a lawyer.
I'll stick to Wing Wednesday. But maybe I'll do one on a different day of the week one time, just so that we
Wing
get you
Wednesday
back
on
in.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Like
That's what
next
Nick-
time I have a lighter day on Wednesdays. Like I hope you're having a Wing Wednesday that day. It just sucks. Like looking at my hospital schedule, I go through like the next week and the week afterwards just to like kind of see what I'm gonna be doing. And Wednesdays are just like the worst days. Like they have so much stuff scheduled. Like it sucks. I used to be off on Wednesdays, and that was the
that
move.
makes sense.
That was the move.
It just sounds nice, so I got to do it on Wednesday.
I understand. Like I couldn't take that away from you, dude. It's perfect. It flows so well. It flows so well.
We'll get you back on there one day.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna try to get you one before 23 drops. Like,
Well, I think my plan is this coming Wednesday.
okay, we'll see what I
'Cause
can
that's
do.
about 2 weeks.
Wings.
And the next one will be the first Wednesday after 23 drops. I want to do one. So
Ooh, yes.
that's the plan right now. It's on my schedule upstairs.
Sign me up.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll be able to.
We'll get you in there. We could like let's just like pre-record a game, and then I'll just
Oh my
eat wings. Like,
Just like SDS.
and yeah, we'll just do pre-recorded Wing Wednesday. Be like, oh, and
Dude,
this
that's
is,
hilarious.
This is when Noob hit that home run. I'll just be eating.
Oh, the wing emotes. All right. That'd be amazing.
All right. Well, man, this was a lot of fun, Noob. I really appreciate
Absolutely, man.
you taking some
Hell
time
yeah.
out to join us.
Dude,
Yeah.
hell
Any
yes.
final
Love
thoughts
talking to you
for franchise and
We
or just
appreciate
MLB
you,
The
bro.
Show 23 in general?
I'm optimistic, and I think I think I won't get burnt out by this one. Let's say I don't think I'm gonna have the 6 months off like I did for 22. So that's just gonna say
Noob.
yeah, noob. Tango, Nick. So I just think the game's gonna be good, and that's why I won't have that time off.
Yeah, Nick and I were talking about this the other day. We're like, yeah, we're gonna do our best to pace ourselves and not just like burn ourselves out in content. Like as soon as
I'm gonna burn myself
drop.
out the first weekend.
Well, that first weekend is like everybody. That's a given,
Yeah.
right? But like 6 weeks into the game, or whenever season 2 starts or whatever, like just not going too crazy because obviously you want to be able to create some longevity with the content for the year.
Absolutely.
And just like still have the desire to keep playing the game long into the year. But I will say rank co-op is going to change everything. And if they add ranked friendlies for you, Nick, then
dude, bring me all the friendlies, make the tournaments easy for me. Please.
It's going to be interesting to see like how that actually works and like how the ratings work.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Do we see a potential 3-person World Series team right here? Maybe.
I think so.
I think you said pennant race wrong.
All right.
Just kidding. Let's do it.
All right. Yes, sir.
Nick's really good at pitching. Nick can pitch all bunchies, and then you can hit all the home runs when I'm on base.
I don't know about that. I'm washed.
I can't hit
washed,
at all,
dude.
so I'm out of that.
That's all right.
We'll figure it out.
That's all right. We'll be all right.
We'll definitely play some co-op. Nick and I were talking about maybe doing like a live podcast where we do like a 3v3 co-ops with people.
That'd be cool.
Under the podcast Twitch. And then obviously I'm sure Nick's going to play a ton. And then It Takes Two to Tango is going to be going hard this year. I want to do at least one a week. So I'm going to start lining up people for that as soon as I can.
Hell yes. I'm definitely down when you need someone.
Yes. Hell yeah. Well, all
Ours
right.
was so fun until I watched it and realized my mic sucked. That was the worst thing.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm always gonna remember that.
The next one's gonna get way more views anyways because it'll be for 23. So
hell yes,
that was just a practice run. I needed some stuff to do.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, for everyone out there listening or watching, as always, this is the On Deck Circle podcast with Nick and Tango and Today Noob. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and Google. So go follow us, subscribe on YouTube, and yeah, we might see us live on Twitch every once in a while. But everybody, have a great day. Noob, Nick, always a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, y'all, for having me on. I appreciate it.
Peace.
Peace.